Okay, so here's the deal. I've come across multiple stories lately where cops are killing pit bulls because, oh, it looks scary. I've come across multiple stories where these kids are getting killed for no other reason than, oh, well, guess we didn't have time. Literally, a schizophrenic boy was trying to get help with his medications, and his parents called the police to try and get him to the hospital to change his meds. So the police came in, tasered him 3 times. Finally, one guy says, we don't have time for this shit. And plugs him. Kills him in cold blood right there. So here's the deal. If you don't understand, you don't realize what's happening in this country, I guess you should probably go take a look. I'm not anti-law enforcement officer. Trust me. You know, I'm very pro-LEO. But the thing is I'm very anti-moron. I'm anti-ignorance. Because if you're going to don that uniform, whether it is as a soldier, a Marine, a sailor, Air Force guy, or a police officer, or a sheriff, it doesn't matter. You still have an oath to uphold. And you still have to do the right thing. And if you can't find that moral compass while you're on the job, maybe you should find a different profession. And if you're a civilian and you don't know what's going on in this country, maybe you should go take a look. You know, a lot of guys anymore think that, oh, if we just raise the minimum wage, that'll solve everything. At least, you know, they can afford to do this and that. Well, guess what? If you raise the minimum wage, those corporate companies are not going to let go of their profit margins. So what does that mean? That means the prices for the goods that you pay for now are going to skyrocket. Inflation is going to get worse. Eventually, that $15 an hour is going to be worth $7 an hour in a year, maybe 2 years. So what, they get 2 years worth of good money? You know, think about it. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, minimum wage was $5. $5 an hour buys you a lot more than $8 an hour, $15 an hour buys now, right? And then the other recent thing is the Robin Hood tax. Okay, let's get something straight. Robin Hood stole from the rich. He stole from them. And then he gave it to the people. You can't tax and ask, can you please give me your money, rich people? They're going to fight back. You know, just look what happened the other day. Now, I can't remember what country it was, but it was actually France. In France, they took the CEOs of a particular company hostage. I'm not going to say the company's name, but they took the CEOs hostage. Guess what? Special operations team went in there and got these CEOs out. Why? Because they have the money. You see, the thing is it's going to take an uprising from the people. It's going to take an uprising, as George Orwell would say, from the proletariat. But here's the problem. And if this is one of you guys, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. And the proletariat will be happy with his beer, gambling, and his football. Does that sound familiar? Budweiser, Texas Hold'em, and the NFL. Is that all you guys want in life? You can tell me every single player on almost every single team and all their stats, but you can't possibly tell me what the NDAA is? You can't possibly tell me what they're passing right now in the legislation? Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. They're the same. I mean, literally, we have a one-party system. And people say, well, if we just get a constitutional conservative in there, well, what if we could just get a Kennedy-era Democrat in there? We'll be good to go. No, we won't. You see, it doesn't matter what we do. Because if I went to a guy that shot my best friend to have him fix him up and heal the gunshot wound, do you think that's going to work out? No. You can't go to the people that caused the problem and ask them for a solution. What do you think is going to happen? You know, I believe the guy's name was James Yeager said, clean your rifle, pack your ruck. It's time to go. You know, I'm not saying it's time for that yet. Probably at some point in the future. But we need to understand this, it has to come from the people. And I'm not talking just this particular group. You know, if Occupy and Tea Party would settle their differences and realize that they want the same thing. They want the same people in jail, you know. But instead they mock each other. And we're so divided, we can't see across party lines, so to speak, as the underdogs, as a civilian, as the guys, the blue-collar guys, even the white-collar guys. We can't settle our differences and take a look at it. So what's the solution? How about we take your circle of control, what you can control, what you can change, which means your community, your town. You can change that. Get on the Chamber of Commerce. Say, hey, buddy, you're not doing this anymore. Get on the city council. Get involved in your local community. If it's too far gone, move somewhere else. If not, you will be stuck in tyranny and oppression for a long time. You need to understand and recognize where you're at and where your community is going. If you don't do that, you are the only one to blame. And you also need to make a commitment that, hey, if something like that officer shooting that schizophrenic kid happens within a 100-mile radius, I'm going to band together and get as many people and go after them, not necessarily in an offensive way, but say, hey, look, we're not going to stand for this. We're not standing while you do this. We're not going to be that guy. It is not okay. Because if you don't, you're telling them that it is okay. If you don't show up with 250 to 300 people and say, no, this is not cool, then you deserve everything you get. If somebody bulldozes a front yard garden because it's not a lawn and you're not there to help stand up for it, you are the one to blame. You know, we can't let these stories go by any longer. It's time that we stand up as a people. And like I said, it doesn't matter what party you belong to. We all have the same common interests. Okay? Number one, we don't know where our food is coming from. We're trying to fix it. And that's on both sides of the aisle. Survivalists, right-wingers, and left-wingers are all trying to do organic gardening. Why? Because they don't know where the food's coming from. We can all agree that the banking system is screwed. We can all agree that the Federal Reserve has been manipulating the dollar. We can all agree that the money has gone bad and is not worth near as much as it should be. We can all agree on these things. So let's unite on these things. And let's push forward. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your friends, and say, look, we're not standing for this anymore. Let's band together and let's figure out a solution. You know, plant more fruit trees, plant more legume trees to help out the fruit trees as support species. Do some research. Figure these things out for yourself. Turn off the TV. Open a book. Okay? If you're still watching football, that's fine. But you need to understand, for every game that you watch, for every baseball game that you go to, which is fine, you need recreation. But if that's all you're going to hang on to in your spare time, maybe you should dig a little deeper. And when tyranny really hits and your back is really against the wall, number one, don't say I didn't warn you. But number two, I want you to look back and remember all those times that you said, nah, I'll do it later. Nah, don't worry about it. As it's been floating around the internet, you'd probably better take an interest in politics, because politics is taking an interest in you. And like I said, there's not really a solution. It doesn't matter who we elect into the larger offices. It's not really going to help. And if your state becomes too oppressive, get out and move, like Magpul out of Colorado. I live in Colorado. Kind of breaks my heart Magpul moved, but I stand behind him all the way. So like I said, find your circle of control or your circle of influence and make sure you start influencing things in your local community. If not, move. Look for solutions. Proactively think about where this country's headed. Think about everything, you know, and don't go crazy doing it like I do. But please, please, for the love of all mankind, wake up and do it fast. We'll see you on the next Epic Rant video.